Okay, I'm going to go a little more in depth than I did on my last video. With this here is the meross or however you pronounce it, msg100, and what I'm going to discuss today is this. If you have a mighty mule, this will work great. First off, let's come over to the control panel. Check and see if you have auxiliary power right there. Focus in. Okay. Once you see that you have auxiliary power, this will work awesome, because then you can plug it in right there for your power system. And then you go to calm and cycle on the sensor, or not the sensor, the what was it called? Signal control. Okay. If you have the power source, you can take these two screws on whichever side you need to open up, and then you have access inside. I haven't done it, but the other ones, the older version, had where you just unscrew them. I believe this one here probably is too. I hope they didn't solder them. But if they did, you can always unsolder it and solder another cable on. Then you don't have to cut the end off this. Or if you just want to, you can cut the end off this and you have it there. Or you can get a female end for the USB, cut the male end off of that, and then just basically wired up into here. And then on the power part, then you can just plug the USB from there, or even the remotio. The remotio is kind of the same way. Okay, then your control on this one will go into the calm and the cycle over here, and that's pretty much it. Now, if you can do this on garages. They have videos on YouTube all about that, but I haven't seen any of them do anything even halfway on the gate controls or your automatic gates. Now, if you don't, let's say you open up your deal and you don't have any of these things, you can't hook it up this way, not a big deal. You call them, you tell them that you call meross or call their customer support, tell them that it won't work, or you order it, and they have basically a generic clicker that is already wired into this. And what that does is you just power this up, and you can power it up the same way. You can, if you don't have 12 volt power out here, you can do like I did with the 110. If you don't have access to the 110, but you have a battery down here, you can get the cigarette lighter adapters for your battery, put that on there, and then put a cigarette lighter plug in with the USB port like you would do for your car, and plug that in there, and then plug that in and have it right down here, and it should still work. You know, it should be close enough that it'd still work. If not, you can move your clicker deal somewhere closer or whatever you have to do. They give you plenty of cable. As you can see, I think this is like 4 foot of cable for your power cord. And then all you have to do from that point is put your sensor, like I did with the meross. And also, because Alexa doesn't work with routines with meross, or not meross, with remotio, I meant. I ended up putting a link-kind sensor here so that I can actually do routines. So when the gate opens, a light comes on. When the gate closes, a light goes off. With the meross, I think you might be able to actually do routines with Alexa. I haven't really got into it and checked it too much, but I believe you can. So like I was saying yesterday, you know, there are some things you get with the remotio, like the Bluetooth. You don't get that with the meross. You get the geosensor or geofencing with the remotio. I haven't been able to get it to work, so it doesn't do me no good. You don't get that with the remotio. There's a few other little odds and ends that you get with the remotio that you don't get with the other. However, for the cost difference, it's really not that big of a deal to me. And if you're out in the country or on a farm or something like that, you really don't need all those. The good thing about having it Wi-Fi, though, is it's close enough to the house that it's picking up the Wi-Fi, so we can open and close the gate as we're coming in, and it's not that big of a deal. By the time we get here, the gate's open. As we're leaving, the gate closes. If you don't have Wi-Fi available, what you can do is go one of those, either bury you a coax cable, or not a coax, Ethernet cable all the way up here, put you a router, put you, get you either a 12-volt router, or put you an inverter in, running off your battery, and run your router that way. Or you can do a point-to-point with the same thing, or however you have to hook that up. There's plenty of YouTube videos on those kind of things. Those are just other options you have. But one cool thing about this one, it's a little simpler than the meross. It all plugs in the same way. It all works the same. The cool thing about this one is I believe it will work with setting up routines. So you can actually have it set up to have a routine where at a certain time it'll open and stay open and close for a certain time, or lights will come on, lights will go off. It does tell you that the gate's open, the gate's closed, because you're using the sensor. It also tells you pretty much which device has opened it, or person's account, that kind of a thing. So it does come in pretty handy, and it's only $33 after taxes on Amazon, and prices change, I'm sure. And trust me, I'm not sponsored by meross. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I've never received any sponsorship from any of my videos on anything. This is all me doing it myself. And if it was junk, I would tell you it's junk, but I'm actually kind of impressed. Most of the things I get, you might think it's junk, but I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with most stuff I have. As you can tell, there's a lot of junk around here. So, but yeah. Trying to think what else is there to discuss on this. I mean, you can plug it in to your power. You can plug it in, 110, or you can go to a battery, depending on what you got to do. If you plug it into your power, you have to use the adapter, the little converter, the power brick or whatever that you plug in, and then plug your USB into it. But what I ended up doing, so that I don't have to mess with cutting ends off, is I got the female end, or basically it's a power splitter, a USB power splitter. And then when I get it in, I'm going to cut off the male end on both of them, and then just strip the wire back, and then I'll be able to plug one in here on the other gate opener, and leave that in there, and then I'll be able to plug in the meross just straight to it. I don't have to do any cutting. It should fit all up in here, because there is a little bit of room in here. If not, then I might have to run it down into this box, or you can run it into any box you need to. It'll all still be there. You just have to make sure you have enough wire to plug into your calm and cycle. Other than that, you're pretty good. And if you need longer wire for that, that's not that big of a deal. You just take your end here, take these two screws out of the back, pull this little cap here off, unscrew the deals here, put your wire in here, and then you can put any length of wire you need. So you can alter these a little bit on your wire lengths and do whatever you need there. And as I forgot, because on these you have these wire tightening nuts. Well, for your signal, just like I did with this one, here is my signal cable right here, coming out from my Remotio, and it runs down and goes to here. Well, instead of having to cut them, you just loosen this up, slide the one end up in here and plug it in on the here and plug it in on the meross or however they pronounce that thing. So yeah, that seems like a really good idea. And if you don't have a automatic gate opener, well, guess what? You can use it on your garage door opener too. The only difference on the meross, it says gate, and on that one it shows a picture of a garage door. So when it's open, the garage door will be up instead of a gate. And whenever it's closed, it'll say closed, but it'll show a picture of a garage door being closed. This one doesn't show any pictures, it just says open or closed. Well, you just name this, gate 1, gate 2, gate whatever. And if it's a garage, you can put your garage door numbers on it. And they do have another one that has 3 outlets to it. I like this because then you have each individual, So it works better for, single doors or single gates. If you had 2 gates right next to each other, the other one might be okay, so you put it all in one little space. But I'd still use these as opposed to the other one, I think. And it comes with almost 20 foot of sensor. It comes with the power brick, some 3 sticky back tape stuff, some screws, the other end of the sensor, and a zip tie. So, I mean, it comes with everything you pretty much need. You might have to alter the cable size if you need to. Like this one here, okay, the sensor, say that your sensor is you're further away from your sensor and you need a longer cable or a shorter cable, you can always cut these and just unscrew the cap and screw it right back in. Or if you have a hole that's too small to fit these connectors here into, just take the wires apart here, cut this end over here, and hardwire it in after you get it up in there. So, but I don't see a problem with that going through anything. So anyway, that's pretty much what I got for you guys today on this. I just thought I would do a little more in depth on how to connect this up. And I mean, they have videos on how to set it up with your Wi-Fi. If you're doing it on a garage or you're kind of having to do it in an uncomfortable position, do it in a comfortable position. Do it down on the ground if you're doing it in a garage, so you're not up on the ladder trying to get it all set up. Go ahead, plug it in, get everything all set up, get it all connected up to your Wi-Fi. Then go up the ladder, plug it all in, and be done with it. And if you're like out in the country or whatever and you're having to stand in tall weeds and all this other stuff, do it over and tailgate of your truck. Whatever you got to do. If you have power access there and you have Wi-Fi. So, but it does have to have Wi-Fi. It does have Wi-Fi and network. So if you lose your internet, you can still do it as you pull up there if you have Wi-Fi or, your networking Wi-Fi. But if you have internet, you can do it from anywhere in the world. So I hope that helps a little bit. I didn't pull these off and show you the inside, but if it's like the other ones that I've seen on YouTube, you just pull these caps here off. You got screws, and you just pull whatever wire out you need, alter it however you need, put it back in. Just make sure you do it the right way. Okay? And, yeah, that's about it. So I hope this is helpful. And I hope that you guys start thinking outside the box, because that's how I come up with this. I know it's not really that far out the box because that's nothing more than a garage door opener on a gate. That's pretty much what that is. So it should work, and this does work. I tested it out yesterday morning, and it does work. It works the same as the Remotio does. It works a little bit better with Alexa than the Remotio does. And it'll work with Google. The Remotio 3 will work with Google as well. The problem I have with Google is my phone, for some reason, doesn't like to just go, hey Google, and do whatever I tell it to. Whenever I tell it to open the gate, it takes me to all this other kind of stuff on the internet as opposed to opening the gate. So I have to go into Home Assistant, then it will do it. And I'm not all that tech savvy. I just look at things a little different than some people sometimes, and I try to figure it out. And that's kind of what I did with this. So if that is helpful, think about subscribing, because I'm always coming up with other dumb ideas. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a bunch.